Wow. So just to summarize, what, Brother Tunica-El, what would you say would be Ali's main position as far as in the state of music right now, particularly hip hop?
Well, state of hip hop. Yeah, that's some of the things we were discussing. As I said, there's some good hip hop being made, but it's not necessarily in the mainstream, so to speak. And mainstream hip hop is more about a feel, more about the feeling than actual lyricism. If you listen to one of the hottest guys now, Future, there's not a lot of lyrics, but with the production and the way he rides the beat, it creates an overall feeling. And that's mostly, it's a feel music now. He's barely saying anything. Where you was when I was doing such and such. Where you was when I was doing where you know, it's like a little chant vibe, more so than just hardcore lyricism. And and all those is an outgrowth of the failure of the school systems, where vocabularies are not as extensive as they once were, and those type of things. But so the energy of the music is there, but the focus is tilted excessively in one vein, I would say. That's not the balance that it once was in hip hop, I would say. I can't speak for all of the members of all these men, but that's my personal perspective on the state of the music. But
it's almost like hip hop is melting back into R&B. You remember back in the day, there was a lot of dudes that were specifically, I think, the record that PMD made. They made a record called Crossover.
Right.
Where it was kind of like frowned upon to have too much of an R&B feel in your music.
Hip hop, right.
But then later on, a couple decades later, you got dudes like Ja Rule making music doing vocal hooks on a regular, and it was selling really well. 50 million, it was a classic situation. 50 knocked him out the box, and was basically clowning him for the fact that he was doing kind of a crossover sound. Turn around and did the same thing.
Yes, sir.
And then now with guys like, I think what's making it even more intense now with the success of guys like Drake, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just this is in the newer generation. They're evolving their own sound, but the sound is evolving back to what we understand as R&B. I always understood as R&B at the time. R&B with a stronger drum beat. You know what I mean? A little bit of rapping in it, kind of like a different stance. So it's more of a less of a romantic, singing about romance. But even when you look at R&B, they don't sing about. The topics of R&B have changed over the course of time. We used to sing about love or sing about a bad relationship. Went from singing about pure love to singing about bad relationships to singing about kind of like a little bit more vulgarly, right?
Right.
So now you're singing about violence. Dudes would make I think like, I just Cop Game album, if I'm not mistaken. And Game ain't the only one. He's basically taking advantage of a pattern where he can make a violent verse and you sing it out. And you sing it in a lovely way, it's kind of like, oh, that's something new, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, like, it's a frenzy in hip-hop to, like you said, really simplified tracks. I wouldn't say it's even, it is a lot of dumbing down in the education, but it's just like a sound people like. It's real easy going. I remember, what's the dude that rhymes about drugs all the time? Little Young Thug. He got a song called, he grew up with a song about drugs, I forget the name of it, but he rhymes, he don't even enunciate his words.
No.
He just rhymes, not really rhyming half the time. And it's the dude that's rhyming with him on his record. I remember
feeling.
I remember one time, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling. And sometimes almost like as you go too hard, you get too technical. That's frowned upon now.
Yes.
It's strange. There's a lot of little sub-trends. I can go on and on, but you gotta stop me, you know what I mean? There's a lot of little sub-trends going on in the music. I noticed like, Big Sean, Kendrick Lamar. I'm trying to remember who else. There's like 2 other people that are escaping me right now.
J. Cole.
They making records with 8 very recognizable 80s beats. Somebody made a song on the radio. They got the song, the Freaks Come Out at Night. They got that beat, but it's a new artist rhyming on it in a new way, rhyming something totally different. The Freaks Come Out at Night, and that's a little mini trend that's happening between. You gotta pay attention with hip hop. It's always something new, new angle or whatever.
Right.
You know, the flow now where it's like flowing in gaps, flowing a little bit and you pause, and you flow and then pause. No more, it ain't the whole traditional flow constantly flowing, just flowing and technical, fit the words everywhere. Nobody does that anymore unless you're doing it real fat like Eminem or whatever. But
yeah, the production is part of it. The production is a rapper too, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, so it's critical as far as the production and what they call their trap beats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is that certain feeling that came out of Atlanta. Atlanta is hot and killing the game now.
Yeah. Yo, I realized that, you ever notice the song Hotline Bling don't even have no verse on it. They can sing it the whole way through. Well, it's a good look. That joint been on the chart for a minute. I open my phone right now, open up the app, I bet you it's on the top of the chart still right now. So.
Now, I want to ask you, brother, you did, or you do, the 7 questions.
Yes,
Moorish American News. What was your inspiration behind that, and what's some of your vision as far as doing those? Because you interview a lot of different artists.
Indeed. Well, I realize that the arts are a big part of propagating the faith, because as we're talking about, our people mass consume music, other realms of the arts. So that being the case, if our people are mass consuming those mediums, then we have to inject those mediums with the tenets of the faith, so to speak, to propagate to the people. So the 7 questions, obviously, you know, Moors, we definitely deal with the 7 and all its meanings. So it was drawn from the Moorish science as far as that's concerned. But then I came to realize that there were quite a few Moors making music. So I wanted to set up a platform to interview those Moors, to share them with the Moorish diaspora, the Moorish American diaspora, and to the larger community as well. So that was the main impetus for creating the 7 questions column inside the MoorishamericanNews.com's website.
Now, you're an artist as well. I want to ask you a question. First, you recently did a tribute to Mansur Ball-Bey. I want to ask you about that, and then I want to go to Brother Cyrus with his musical endeavors. So, if you can talk a little bit about the ode to Mansur Ball-Bey.
Indeed. Well, Moors have been discussing various ways of protesting the unlawful murder of Brother Mansur Ball-Bey by the St. Louis police, where he was shot in the back and killed, like so many other brothers that have been doing. You know, it seems to be a type of epidemic. So, you know, we've written letters, there's protests, and, you know, I consider myself as being part of a long line of scholar poets, so to speak, within Islamic tradition. And that was my way of protesting, and it was simultaneously a protest song as well as a tribute song. So it serves that dual purpose. And I've been traveling with that on my heart for like months, but I finally gave birth to it recently, and inshallah, a lot of people will feel it. And hopefully we want to set it up whereby maybe a third of the proceeds, we want to sell it as a single. That's why I haven't released it yet, other than among the brotherhood. You know, release it as a single so that we can allot maybe a third of the proceeds to the Ball-Bey family to aid and assist them in furthering their lives as far as that's concerned, and dealing with that great loss. Because, you know, the young brother was a gem among Moorish American Muslims, you know what I'm saying? Solid young brother, so it's sad, it's anger, it's infuriating, all those things. So I wanted to reflect all of that within that particular track.
Now, Brother Cyrus, first honest to you. You're the brother, the campaign, the letter campaign for Mansur Ball-Bey. That was pretty much your brainchild.
You know, we I don't know if you got the whole question. Now, you just want me to speak on that?
Yes.
Gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, when I got the news about what happened, of course it was, you know, a natural reaction to be disturbed by it. And basically the general thought with that was, you know, being that I know that Moors are very proactive And you know, in the early weeks of the news getting out, there was a whole lot of discussion about, you know, what's being done and what should be done and how to go about it. My instincts was telling me that you know, somebody needed to basically something needed to be done to basically focus the Moor's energy, so that everybody could participate. You know what I mean? And you know, basically voice their concern about the situation and help in a way that we focused. You know what I mean? And not, you know, just turn into a free for all. We were having a couple of different discussions about the situation. I remember the first, I think I heard about it from brothers, now our Grand Governor of the state of New York, Brother Bey, called me on a Friday, I believe it was a Friday, and we ended up connecting with the Grand Sheik out there, Brother T. Irons-Ill. Brother Irons-Ill was giving us the rundown, you know, based off of what he had, you know, where it was at in the early stages. And so I had already having thoughts. I was like, yeah, I think it would be smart to send a letter to the governor. You know what I mean? You know, me having a fairly decent understanding of process and how to go about things in an effective manner. You know, traditionally in classes, this is what we're taught. You know, if you have a concern, you know what I mean, as an American citizen, you know, you write to your governor and voice your opinion. So I thought that was pretty good. That was pretty much where the idea came from. We got into a little hot water with it, you know what I mean? Just like everything in a movement, you know, everybody don't agree or see things the same way, so there was a little fallout about it afterwards. But you know, yeah, I think it was successful in the sense that if Moors really felt as though you were concerned about Brother Mansur Ball-Bey, you know what I mean? Now it's kind of like, you know, you can't talk about it afterwards and say that you at least didn't do the bare minimum of writing a letter, you know what I mean? Taking a minute, you know, and putting your concerns on paper. Whether you scratched it on a napkin by hand or typed it on a computer and did multiple drafts or whatever. You know, I give honors to the Moors that were able to support that situation and basically, you know, put it out there. So that's where that came from.
Indeed. Islam. Definitely. Moors, giving honors to you. Just in conclusion, Ali's man again, Brother Lasana Tunica-El. Islam. Brother Cyrus Ill. Any of you Moors want to give any final thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Well, excuse me. I see the seeds of Moors Renaissance taking place. There's many Moors around the country that are making music, and we want to figure out a way to harness that into a movement. Like you said earlier, much of the hip-hop, the conscious, quote-unquote, conscious hip-hop that was produced during the 90s, most of it was fed by the 5% Nation and the teachings that they were putting into the music. So I see this wave of the Moorish Divine National Movement as taking the forefront in doing so with the next wave of conscious hip-hop that's coming out. You know, you have Brother Shafiq Hussein with the White Boys and all the work that he's done with Cyrock Collective, Brother Nat Turner, myself, Brother Cyrus Ill. You know, we had the Moors on the Move project. You know, so the seeds are germinating now. So at some point they're going to bear fruit in the near future. So I'm very excited about that. Because again, our people are not all intellect. You know, we have to inject some feeling and some spirit and some creativity into the propagation of the faith as well. So I see that definitely mushrooming in the next couple of years.
Islam. You know, I always tell the members at my temple number 34 in Brooklyn, New York, I like to say a lot that the Moor Science Temple of America is powered by love. You know, it's love that keeps the doors open, love that keeps the meetings in order, it's love that makes a Moor hold a place or a station, you know what I mean? It's love that'll make a Moor come in and get a card and stay, instead of getting a card and running back out the door. Obviously, unity is a first stage that we're not going to be able to get around. You know, we have to. The Prophet left us several stages that we might be successful. And I'll say that, you know, and say that it's extremely urgent that we don't fail in this mission. You know, the law is leading on the victory is sure. The Prophet gave us everything it takes to uplift the nation, save ourselves. When you look out into the street, you see the urgency. You You know, that and the Moors we have the answer. So with that, you know, unity is Prophet left us several stages. We're supposed to unify, you know, and then the second stage will be we move to the head of the nation. You know what I mean? As a nation. After that, the Moors from the head of the nation, the head of this nation. I'm talking about the United States, or people call it, you know, I'm gonna say the USA. The Moors supposed to save the world. You know, but unity is the first stage. We can't be trying to get to the head of the nation and we didn't unify. We can't try to save the world and we ain't even unified. And this is what, you know, from you know, when we talk about in my temple and from my observation of it, unity is a must. Unity is also an integral part of unity is love. You know, if we don't have love functioning within the pieces of the nation that we have now, those of us that are awake, we're not going to achieve unity. You know, inside of love, there's things like respect. You know, and that's where chapter 26 talks about communication. And when you communicate to a fool, what will make you be patient with a fool except for love? You know, and when you think about love, so if love is a prerequisite to unity, you know, what part does happiness play in love? Can you love? Can you show love? Can you express love or exude love if you ain't even happy? And it's not a coincidence that there's so many chapters in our Holy Quran that deal with happiness. You know, there's a lot of little parts and nuances in the chapter that talk about happiness. The science of happiness is the study of our lives. You know, so I just leave the Moors with that thought. You know, I don't have the answer for how we're actually going to come together. I understand all the little inner workings and, you know, the nuances of you know, the challenges that we have in order to come together from where we are today. But I would just leave the Moors, you know, leave the brothers and sisters with the thought that it's a must. You know, and without love, if we ain't even exuding love, then we're far from unity. You know, and we should be focused on exercising love first and foremost. You know, a lot of people need to look at whether they're happy as individuals. Are you even happy, or are we miserable? And why are we miserable? So maybe we need to go back to our respective homes and starting places and work on that first, and then come back to the table and try to work toward unity in love. Islam.
Islam. Islam. Thank you, brothers.
Islam. Gratitude, Moor.